I want to go over a few things about Premiere before we get going too much further. One thing I want us to do is I want us to show how we can manipulate these windows so it's kind of easier for us to see some things. For instance, if we're up here in the source window, if I go down on my keyboard and I look at the numbers 1, 2, 3, to the left of the number 1 key is a thing called the tilde key. Wherever my mouse is, which window, if I select that tilde key, it lets me zoom in and see the whole wavelength or whatever it is I'm looking at in that particular window. So if I get rid of that, I just hit the tilde key again. Same thing over here, like on the source window or on my bin window right here. So I can do that and I can see all my clips again coming back down. Now down here in the actual project window or sequence window here, we can sit there and we can use the scroll bar here to kind of zoom in and zoom out. Again, we hit our tilde key like that and it opens up into a bigger view. Also, I can go to the left of a clip, whether it's an audio or video clip, and double click in where it says this lock here, and it'll open up and show me my wavelength. Also notice over here is a lock. If I select that lock, it puts a slash line through that, kind of like a cross hatching. That shows me that I can't edit that, and that's probably a smart thing to do because I really don't want to change my audio file except maybe later when I maybe fade it in or fade it out. So I'll go ahead and hit the tilde key again and I go back to my normal window. Now what I want to do is grab my Texas animation clip, and as you can see I can kind of move my mouse around and it kind of pre-plays that clip for me. I'm going to grab that clip and pull it over in here into the time bar, sequence window. Again, I can double click on that and it actually shows me that clip. So this kind of lets us preset our video and see what we have here. Now what I'm going to do is I've gone ahead and opened up Photoshop and I'm going to put a title for the beginning and an ending title here. So I'm going to come down here and click on Photoshop and it opens it up. I'm going to create a new file. Now when I come into Photoshop, I'm going to go ahead and give it a name. I'm going to call it intro title. Again, I'm using Photoshop CC 2015. Now I have some presets down here of document types. Click on this. I'm going to come down and select film and video. So I'll select film and video and it sets it to HDTV, which is pretty nice. I've got several others in here I can look at, like 720, which changes the format here as well. And I can just kind of go through here. It says NTV, NTSC, SDV. It's got this right here. Well, let's go for that one right now. And I'm going to set a transparent background. Hit OK. Now it opens me up a title. Now, if you notice, you have these guidelines here inside of your window. The guidelines were put in there what they call safe zones. These were for the old TV monitors that were tube-based televisions that didn't have a flat screen, because you had to always account for the curvature of the TV's monitor when you were making titles. Now, what I'm going to do here is go over here to my layers panel. I'm going to go ahead and lock this first layer, and I'm going to create a new layer. In that new layer, I'm going to go ahead and create a fill of this whole area. I'm going to go and select my swatches, and I'm going to select, just go with this kind of a white color here. Take my paint bucket, and I'll fill it up. It's all white. Now, I'll come back to layers. I'll double click on that and I'll call it background. Okay, I'll go ahead and lock in for right now. And now I'm going to create a new layer. And I'll double click on this and I'll call it title. Okay, now I'll come over and select my text command here. And I'll go ahead and set my default back to where it was. I'll click out here. My text is kind of small, so what I'm going to do is take it up to a much larger size, maybe 48, and I'm going to key in my YouTube and cell phone, the enter key, animation, by Richard Platt. So now what I'm going to do is I got some, go ahead and move this to the center here, kind of put it up there where I want. It's kind of blah. I'm going to go ahead and select all that text, maybe all this up here, and about right there. I'm going to change the font. So here I can come down and find some different fonts, and it'll kind of highlight them for me and show me them and kind of give me an idea what I'm looking at. Really don't have any idea what I want. I'm going to go ahead and go with something like this. And also I'm going to come over here and change the color of it. This time I think I'm going to go with blue. So I've got it selected as blue, as you can see here. And probably what I want to do now is go back to layers and double click to the right of the title, and I'll open up my layer style panel. Now what I'll do is I'll come over here and I'll select bevel boss, so I can give it kind of a 3D effect here, as you can see. Maybe I'll go to chisel soft here, play around with the depth of it. You can see I kind of got a little depth going there, and maybe work with the size a little bit. That looks good. Now let's go and find a drop shadow, and I can play here with the distance on the drop shadow. You can see that, and maybe I can change the angle of that as well. It's going off to the side there. Let's try to go maybe the opposite side here. Okay, get distance a little further, maybe about right there. Okay, it's kind of dark looking, but we'll go ahead and set ourselves an outer glow, and we'll give it a larger, we had it sitting at 100% opacity. Let's increase the spread on it. See what that looks like. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think we'll go with that for now. Hit OK. I'm going to change the text down here, color to possibly, we'll go with red. Okay, we'll see what that looks like. Well, I kind of like that. It's a good looking little title for right now. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and say File, Save. I'll put it in my folder. I'm going to call it Intro Title, which I've already set the name, and save that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and change that, and we're going to put on this. So thanks for viewing. And of course, we're going to put it on YouTube. We want subscribers. We're going to say please subscribe. And I'll just probably take that out right there. And I'll come back over here since it's my website and I'm trying to get my channel going on YouTube. I'll say training. Okay. Now I'll do a file, save as, ending title. Save that. Go ahead and hit OK. So now I've got my two titles that I've created, and I'm going to go ahead and go back into Premiere, open up Premiere, and let's import those files. Since I'm working in the Adobe environment, I should be able to easily import those Photoshop files directly into Premiere. So we'll go to our folder where we have our project, and I've got my ending title, and I've got my intro title. And we'll open those up. Now I'm going to go ahead and merge all layers because I'm just going to put those files directly in. And we'll go ahead and hit our tilde key, which will allow us to see the full screen. And there are two titles we just created. Okay, take the tilde key off and come back, and we'll scroll down and find that title. There it is. We'll take and grab it and stick it right here. And then what I'll do is probably increase the length of this. So we're going to go ahead and go into this view here, and we'll start doing some editing. Come back to this in a moment.